Salsa challenge. The topic of today's lesson is the Dile que no and the tornado. The Dile que no is similar to like a crossbody lead if you dance inline salsa, and the tornado is a Dile que no with a turn on the 5, 6, 7. So I'm first going to talk about how to dance the Dile que no correctly as a follower using the techniques that we've developed over this video series, and then I'm going to give you some styling options that you can add on top of that technique. And then of course we'll address the tornado and some common errors that I find when I'm teaching and ways to fix them when you're dancing. So let's get into it. So as always, when we're doing any basic figure, the first thing that we want to be thinking about is making sure that we're alternating our knees, which is creating this tilt in our hips, getting the rib cage and the shoulders involved, and allowing that to then influence what the arms are doing. So I first want to look at this step pattern through those eyes. How can I incorporate all of these body actions into the basic step? So the basic step of the Dile que no, if we're just doing it in a straight line, you can also do it over rotated, but that kind of depends on how much the leader is rotating. So for this video, I'm going to just do the step in a straight line just to make it easier to apply these topics and just for your brain so that you're not confused about which direction you're supposed to end up in. So I'm going to do my Dile que no. I'll do it twice. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Okay? Like I said, we can also change the degree of rotation, but because that depends largely on what the leader is doing, I'm just going to keep the step in a straight line for this video, okay? So, as I said, we're going to look at how we can apply our technique concepts on top of this step pattern. So I'm going to go back and side. This is where a lot of people tend to neglect their technique and just kind of step and turn their body and wait for the leader, or maybe sometimes they don't wait. So we want to go 1, 2, and on 3, I'm bringing the right side of my body forward because I'm going to maintain my same technique. My right knee is bent, my rib cage and shoulder are forward, and if I have a free hand, which at this moment I do, it's good to practice using the arms the way we did in a couple videos ago, okay? So I'll do it facing away. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3. Making sure that I get that right side coming forward on 3. And I tap, and when I tap, I'm shifting my hip over onto the right side, and I'm changing my rib cage now so that my left side is going forward. So let's try that again. I go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? This is where people tend to get confused because generally in all of our salsa steps we're holding the 4 and the 8, but in this step we're doing an action on the 4. So again, I'm going 1, 2, 3, switch on 4. Another common mistake I see is people who really over-rotate that right hip. I am rotating just slightly, but mostly I'm sending my hip to the side and sending my left rib cage forward, which creates the illusion of twisting without actually over-rotating your body so that you end up in an awkward position in relationship to your partner. So I'm thinking more about sending the left rib cage forward than I am about sending the right hip back. So let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Left rib cage forward. Now, on 5, 6, 7, I want to maintain my same rib cage, shoulder, knee, hip action. This is the most common place where people tend to abandon all of that. They might do this part correctly, and then they kind of try to get to the other side of the leader, and then we come back into our Cuban motion and all of our body actions. No, we want to maintain all the things that we were doing in all the rest of our dancing. So, one thing I need to say about that is our left rib cage is already forward on 4 because we did that extra action, that tap. So all I need to do on 5 is move my foot. Everything else in my body is already where it needs to be. So I move my foot on 5 and then 6, 7, okay? So on 6, what I'm thinking about is taking my right side forward because that is going to help me rotate so that I can then face the leader. Another common mistake I see is people will take 2 steps away from the leader and then get off balance trying to rotate around to find him. I always just tell my students, take these steps as if you're just kind of walking in a circle. Don't try to rotate too much or too little. It should be very gradual and relaxed. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4. Just move the foot. 5. Rotate that right rib around 6. And then the left rib comes forward as I step back on 7. This is another place where it's really tempting to want to send that left side back. But as we learned in the first few videos, we want to send the rib cage always going forward, coordinating with the foot that I'm stepping on, which in this case is the left, so I want to send my left side forward, okay? So again, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, sending the left rib cage forward. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Last time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm doing this sideways to you so that when you rotate, you won't be facing away from me trying to see what I'm doing, okay? So now, let's try the Dile que no with music. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6, 7. Now, we're going to do a stylized version of the step in which we over-rotate it, which is always an option. I'm always telling my female students, counts 1, 2, 3 are yours. Because the leader technically isn't supposed to lead any turns on 1, 2, 3 because you're supposed to be able to do whatever styling thing you want to do on those counts, generally. So my female students are always like, well, what if the leader wanted to do something? Well, he'll wait and he'll be able to do it on the next counts because we have to be able to feel free and like we can express ourselves while we're dancing and not always be totally preoccupied with what the lead is doing. We want to strike a good balance. So, back to the step after my little tangent. So we're going to over-rotate our count number 7, I think 7 to 1. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. On 7, we're going to to take that left side open. And then I'm going to do my 1, 2, 3, or my 1, 2, facing this direction. 1, 2, and then I'll come back to my partner on 3. So I'll do that facing away. We go 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. I come back to my partner. And you'll notice, because this is a stylized step, I'm abandoning my Cuban motion on 1, 2. I'm going 1, 2 with 2 bent knees, 1, 2, and then I come back to my Cuban motion on 3. So let's try that again. I'll do it sideways. So we go 1, 2, 3, sending that arm out on 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, rotate 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, and I can go 5, 6, 7. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. And on 1, there's a lot of different options. You could do a scoop with the arm. You can use some of the options that I mentioned in the arm styling video. For now, I'm just kind of allowing that arm to float out to my side. The important thing is that I don't have it down here, that it's not in a claw, that it's not covering my body. So I'm just kind of allowing it to go with the natural movement of my body and then coming back. But like I said, you could do a scoop, you could bring the arm up. It's up to you. Use the tools that I've given you. I'm just keeping it nice and simple because that's what I'm in the mood for today. I'm going to do it facing away a couple times and then we'll try it with music. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so now let's try that with music. 6, ready, we go. 1, 2, and again. Okay, so now that we've talked about the foundation of the Dile and we've practiced it with a little bit of style, we're now going to do the step with a turn on counts 5, 6, 7. So it looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 1. The first part of the step is the same. 1, 2, 3, 4. Although generally the leader will have your right hand when he leads this, but because we're dancing by ourselves, we'll go ahead and practice the arm styling. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and now I'm going to do basically a 3-step turn. 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm ready to go back on my right on 1. This is a turn a lot of people have difficulty with as far as balance and actually knowing where to step. So we're going to address those issues, and we're also going to talk about spotting because that's an important component in the speed of your turn as well as maintaining your balance. So what the feet are doing while I turn, there's one of two ways that you can do it. You can either go forward, together, forward, and then finish the turn, allowing the right foot to trail behind. Or if it's more comfortable, you can leave the feet open and go forward, back, forward. Something different works for everybody. What I found, however, is it's better to think about what the body is doing and allow the feet to follow, because in my experience, when my students get too hung up on exactly where the feet are supposed to be, it actually makes them change the way that they turn their body and kind of segment it, and then they end up being off balance at the end. Whereas if we just think about using the chest and shoulders in a nice, smooth, continuous circle, then the feet tend to do exactly what they're supposed to. So from here, from 4, what I want to think about as I'm turning is rotating from the chest and not from the feet and the hips. When I think about turning my feet, I tend to generate too much momentum, too much speed, and that's when you end up off balance at the end of the turn or falling backward. This, although it looks fast, we're always trying to turn a little bit slow. The leader can create more speed as he wants to if we are actually going a little bit slower than him. If we're going faster, then he just has to try and catch up with us and catch us at the end of the turn, which isn't a very pleasing dynamic to have between a leader and a follower. So we're trying to turn slow, which requires that I'm using my chest to turn, and then my feet and hips will follow. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, turn the chest, 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 and then I'm going to end with my spine forward toward the leader so that I can do a nice controlled rock step going back, okay? So I'll do that sideways. 1, 2, 3, and I turn the chest. So see, my chest is always preceding the direction of my feet and hips, and then I can just come around nice and easy. Okay, one more time, and then we'll talk about the spine. I'm going 1, 2, 3, turn the chest, and let the feet catch up, okay? So now the spot in this turn, generally when we are spotting, we're thinking about spotting our partner because he's right in front of us. However, when they leave the Dile que no, our partner is actually moving himself out of our sight line. So we want to stay looking forward. We don't want to turn our head and look at him, because then what will happen is we'll start to want to turn toward him instead of past him, which is what our goal is in this case. So I go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to keep my vision straight in front of me, and then that's where my spot is going to be until the end of 7 when I turn and come back to my partner. So I go 1, 2, 3. I'm turning the chest. I'm leaving my head behind. I bring my head around, step, and then I can come back to my partner. Okay? So let's try that a couple times. I'll do it facing away now. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1. Okay? So I'm spotting right in front of me. I don't want to turn my head to look at my partner until the very end of the turn when I'm ready to step back on my right. I'm turning my chest and my shoulders. My head is going to go over my right shoulder, then over my left shoulder, and then back to my partner. So let's practice this turn a few times with music. 5, 6, ready, Ready? feet up. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. So that's all for day 9 of this 10-day Improve Your Salsa challenge. Be sure to come back tomorrow because we are going to mix everything that we have learned over the last 9 days all together into a super fun, functional practice routine for you so you don't want to miss it. Keep practicing and I'll see you back here tomorrow.
Thanks so much for joining me for today's lesson. Leave a comment below and let me know how you did. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the post notifications for my channel. You can also follow me on Instagram at Dance Doctor Online. Until next time, keep dancing.